A lethal cobra was in a well where two pups tumbled. You won't believe what occurred next for 48 hours. Most people consider snakes to be among the world's most deadly creatures, with cobras topping the list. It seems unthinkable for one of these ferocious reptiles to take care of other creatures. Yet that is precisely what transpired. This incident occurred in the Indian state of Punjab a few years ago. On a sweltering day, two little puppies were playing in their owner's garden, who was nearby. The two dogs were chasing each other about, playfully wrestling with each other, and laughing and barking in amusement. They delighted everyone who happened to hear them, shattering the stillness of the courtyard in which they were. Their owner was working on some of his everyday tasks while he was close by. He enjoyed seeing his two cute, tiny pups run about and play, but eventually he realized that the noise from the puppies' barking had decreased significantly until the yard was calm once again. The owner carried on with his tasks, unfazed. After playing in the scorching sun for a time, he reasoned that the two pups could have just gone to lay down and rest in the shade for a little to cool down and regain their vigor, but it wasn't until a few minutes later that something seemed off about the circumstance. The mother of the puppy began to bark loudly, seemingly to alert the owner to a problem or to seek for help. The owner, sensing a terrible thing was going on, thought he would quickly search the yard to see if he could locate the two tiny dogs. He searched everywhere, but he was unable to locate the two puppies. The mother dog continued to bark throughout the entire ordeal. In fact, it simply grew louder and more insistent. The mother dog approached the man just as he was beginning to lose his cool and gave him a direct look. Then she turned around and left the yard behind. The dog went back to face the man and barked again, perhaps telling him to follow her, when he didn't follow her right away. At last, the owner gave in to the mother dog's demands and trailed her out of the yard and slightly into the woodland that bordered his garden. The mother dog halted at an ancient well a few meters into the woodland and began to bark non-stop. The man realized what had happened right away. Clearly, the two pups had ran into the forest to reach the well, and during their playing antics, one of them had fallen into the well by accident. Because of their little size, they were unable to escape. Therefore, their mother had gone to ask the guy to assist in locating her missing children. The dad, who was relieved to have located the two puppies, foolishly believed that he could bring them out of the well and back into his yard to play right away. However, he quickly found out that this would not be the case. The father was shocked to see what he truly saw when he went to the well, to see how the puppies were doing and to make sure they were safe. The two pups and a poisonous king cobra, one of the deadliest snakes on the planet, were down at the bottom of the well. The two scared dogs were barely 4 inches away from the snake, which was the scariest part. It was problematic that the guy didn't know how long the lizard had been in the well, since it may have been extremely frightened, agitated, or even hungry, all of which might have caused it to attack the two pups. Huddled together in an attempt to appear courageous, the owner realized he had to save his two young pups. With haste, he raced back to his house and retrieved 2 ladders. He went back to the well, dropped the ladders inside, and descended. However, as the guy went farther into the well, he became increasingly aware that the snake that was in there with the dogs would make this a difficult chore. The man was afraid the snake might attack him if he descended too far down the ladder. Given how strong the king cobra's poison is, the man could have as little as 15 minutes to obtain aid if that were to occur. The guy attempted to reach down into the well to get the 2 dogs, but he was wary of the snake. But he just couldn't take the chance of snatching the 2 dogs given how near they were to the reptile. The guy gave up trying to save the dogs after a few failed efforts and accepted that he would not be able to accomplish it alone. Acknowledging this, the guy made a call to a few forest department rescuers to come retrieve the animals from the hole. He returned to the well after the call to keep an eye on the puppies and wait for the rescuers. It was growing dark after a few hours, and the man came to terms with the fact that the rescuers would not come that day. He worried about what to do. Should he go to bed so that he would be alert and prepared to assist the following day, or should he remain up with the pups all night and wait for them? Ultimately, the guy concluded that the best course of action for him to help the rescuers save the animals the next day would be to get a decent night's sleep. Fearing the worst, the father hurried to the well as soon as he woke up the following day to see how the puppies were doing. Carefully peering down the hole, the owner expected to find that the two young animals had been attacked by the cobra. Instead, he was stunned by what he saw, much to his surprise. The snake was guarding the two puppies, not attacking them. After circling the pups, the reptile moved toward the well's edge and tapered off into some murky water. The snake would herd the two dogs away from the water if they approached it too closely, as though attempting to keep the pups safe. The pups eventually felt at ease enough to play around for a little while, but they were always cautious not to agitate the snake by disturbing it. The mother of the puppy watched over the two babies closely and never left the side of the well during the whole day. The owner, in the meantime, continued to check in on the animals throughout the day, but he knew that another long night of concern was ahead, as the day came to an end, and there were no signs of rescuers arriving. On this occasion, though, the father was more concerned about the likelihood of rain than he was about the snake harming the puppies. The pups would drown if it were to rain, since the well would overflow with water. Fortunately, the guy was glad to discover that no additional water had been put to the well when he awoke the following day and went down to it. Finally, the rescuers showed up to provide assistance. All three of the animals had been trapped in the well for the better part of 48 hours, but now it was time for them to return home. Donning a specialized outfit, one rescuer made his way down into the well. After descending to that level, the cobra went to the opposite side of the wall, perhaps to provide the rescuer a safe space to reach the puppies without obstructing him. The man in the well then grabbed the snake and pulled it out of the hole after the rescuers from above had raised the two dogs. Being aware that people were attempting to assist it, the reptile had an extremely placid and submissive demeanor. The guy hurriedly examined the two puppies after the three animals had emerged from the well. Fortunately, other than being hungry and cold, they were doing just well. However, the pups were back to playing in the yard as happy as they could be after a satisfying breakfast and some hugs. The cobra, on the other hand, was returned to its natural habitat and allowed to live contentedly there. This just serves to demonstrate the fact that frightening creatures can also be incredibly kind and gentle. What a fantastic video! Please share your thoughts in the comments section below.